Morning guys, and welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator. Today we're going to kick things down a notch and actually fly low and slow. So we're going to check out some of the General Aviation offerings that this platform has to give us. But before we do that, first things first, let's check out my graphics settings. I know that's something you guys very much wanted to know after yesterday's two videos. So, quick reminder on my specification, I'm running a GTX 1660 graphics card with an i7 6700 processor and 60GB of RAM. At the moment everything is set to high apart from two settings, which are the ambient occlusion and reflections. I've turned those down to medium just because those two are very much the FPS killers of Microsoft Flight Simulator. And what I've actually done is turned up the terrain level of detail, so by default that's set to 100. I've bumped up to 125 just so that when flying over certain sceneries it just gives that ever so slightly high definition imagery. Quick note as well, so I am no longer using OBS to record videos for Microsoft Flight Simulator because it really is a memory hog, and as a result any of the stuttering or poor visuals or anything that was memory based I had issues with yesterday, that was OBS. So I'm now using Bandicam to record videos because Bandicam is just such a nice piece of software for not using any of your memory, none of your CPU, none of your GPU, it just uses nothing and produces high quality video regardless. So going to give that a go today, and fingers crossed things will be a lot smoother. But now onto the flights. This was a request. This was a request to fly from Helsinki to Mariehamn. Yes, it's a domestic Finnish flight today. I presume they meant Vanta, but we're actually going to go to Malmi today, just because this is the smaller airport in Helsinki. It's the regional GA airport. So we'll set departure around 5, doesn't really matter where we start. And our arrival, let's have a search. So Mariehamn, Echo Foxtrot Mike Alpha. It's not terribly far away. I will be setting a waypoint here, Hanka, just so that we have a flight path that does keep us along the coast and therefore safe of any airspace boundaries that Finland has to offer. Aircraft today, we shall fly the Diamonds DA-62 even, not 42, and set that one up. So weight and balance, we don't need too much fuel again on board. We'll say 20%. That's looking good. 56 minutes estimated flight time, 161 nautical miles, which is fine. I do plan to fly this one fully manual from start to finish, so we'll definitely get our hands dirty today. And flight time. Let's go at the crack of dawn. So let's create a bit of noise in Finland, shall we? Maybe a little bit lighter, around 5:30. I think that'll be perfect for us. So yeah, without further ado, make sure we're on live weather, which we are. Let's get started, shall we? So yes, the aim today, we're gonna fly a bit low to the ground, show you off now that I'm using Bandicam. Hopefully things will be looking a lot better as well. Anyways, we'll let the simulator load and then we'll jump right into it. Hello Menta, and welcome to Helsinki. There we are in our Diamonds DA-62. And I must say, the ambience right now is fantastic. Being in Finland, we are very north in terms of our position on the globe, and therefore in the summer the sun sets really late and rises very early. But I've got to say, the orange glow in the sky is just fantastic. Anyways, we'll jump into the aircraft and we'll start getting this aeroplane ready to go. Have a look around. So obviously got this guy here with the pushback vehicle of some sorts. Another person there also watching by. Everything is clear behind us, so before we actually get the aircraft ready to go, we'll probably do the pushback first, get that out and done. Yeah, okay, that's the plan. So first things first, we shall turn on the battery and avionics. And let us bring open the ATC menu. Ground services and pushback. I have got my mouse pointer on this time, so you guys can track what I'm doing. While I personally prefer videos and streams with that turned off, majority rules, you guys want to see it, so I will put that on for you guys. So, going to push back into the clear open state behind us. The supervisor guy, wherever he's gone, there he is. Keep an eye on him there. Release parking brake. Let's get the aeroplane moved. And then, because there is a delay between us actually telling the stop and actually doing it, we'll call it out now. Van Kitos. Right, parking brake set. Let's now do the engine starter. Got a caution message. Nothing, okay, that's fine. Right, pitot heat active. Position lights on. We'll turn on strobe lights as well, because I can anticipate we're going straight into an engine start. Right, left and right fuel pumps active. Alternators on. We'll actually open up the fuel tanks as well and close the guards. Quick check of the outside to make sure that nobody's in the area. A quick shout for clear prop, just to also give an audible warning about start our engines. And yeah, let's turn them on now. Master switch right, engine starter on. So, push and hold the button until the engines come to life. Right hand engine is now active. Let's on the master for the left engine and do the same. There we go. Just a quick throttle up and down the engines just to check the RPM. That's all do me rather fine. Okay, so aim of this flight, we're going to do it all in freehand. So we're not going to program any of the FMS, we're not going to use any autopilot systems. We're going to fly it manually from start to finish. I mean, it's just under an hour in length, so it's not a horribly long flight. And, well, the scenery around us, certainly you're going to have a few things to look out for. We have got the basic map on the left and right there for us to follow, just in case we do need some actual guidance to where we're flying, as we did set up in the menu. But, for the most part, this should be a very nice flight indeed. I mean, DA-62 is a very easy aircraft to get flying, so yeah, no problems with me in that regard. We'll lower the flaps down to the first setting. Parking brakes released. Let's adjust the camera to a position that I quite like. That will do. A little bit of throttling. Taxi lights active. Let's get going, shall we? If we depart heading to the south, that'll be the easiest way to avoid any traffic. So I was going to be fairly careful for those random cones there on the floor. Obviously mark lines for parked aircrafts that haven't quite got into position. And there we go. Right, follow taxiways around. We shall hold position here for 2 seconds. Quick visual check of the runway, make sure that nobody is taking off or landing. Was that runway 36? Okay, tell you what, change plan. We'll head departing to the north, and then we'll make a right-hand turn before heading down south. We can't make a left-hand turn because what that does then conflicts with the airspace at Vanta. And so what we need to do is kind of just essentially clear the airspace as soon as possible, and without any issue from the main Helsinki airport. It's a very awkward position, Malmö. I really find the airport's name. Yes, in a very awkward position where it is right on the landing path of runway 29, and so if they're using that runway active, this airport's shut. If they're using 2 parallel runways, then Malmö is open, and therefore you get a few aircraft flying in and out of there. That van is heading towards us, rather interesting for some reason. We'll turn on our landing lights, and we'll move out of his way. Sorry about that. We'll enter the runway, we'll depart, and then we shall start our flights. Right, landing lights are active, flaps are set for takeoff. Runway is ours. Let's now rotate. Aircraft is stable, gear up. And there we go. Beautiful, just beautiful.
Diamond X-ray Golf Sierra, continue for west departure. I will contact you next when you leave my airspace.
Right, continue for west departure, so that means a right... Nope, that's a left-hand turn actually. We shall raise the flaps. It's very interesting actually. If they're sending us to the west, all that's done is actually sends us right through the Vanta departure path. And there's Malmö right there.
Diamond X-ray Golf Sierra, did you copy?
Whoops, sorry, yep, responds.
Tower Diamond Alpha Sierra X-ray Golf Sierra, continue for west departure.
Cut back the throttle ever so slightly, therefore we're not going to overspeed. And I anticipate a cruise of around 3,000 feet today, so not very high at all.
Diamond X-ray Golf Sierra, you are leaving my airspace. Frequency change approved.
Right, let's do that. We won't change frequency, we'll fly on our own for the rest of the flight, but what it does now mean we should make another left-hand turn and start making our way now for the coast. Check the altitude, we're currently at 1,700, climbing for 1,800. And there we are. The very pretty scenery here in Helsinki. So far so good, aircraft is stable. Both engines are fine, RPM is stable. Let's carry on. There's a minor bit of turbulence at the moment, but nothing too crazy. visibility, clear skies all round. Oh look, and there's the actual main centre of Helsinki. That's what I can remember from my couple of trips over there. That's the central station. Ooh, okay, perhaps don't go even too far because it hasn't quite loaded the buildings in the distance over there. They will slowly fade in. You have the central station in the centre there. Just to the left of that, you're going to have the Russian cathedral, where they filmed the Rude Sandstorm, if everyone remembers the song. We're going to have Suomenlinna, not too far off the coast, a prison island, which also serves as a museum. Also, directly below us right now, if I can get the camera to move. Nope. There we go. That is the the former Olympic Stadium, and the modern facility in the south. That's the current Helsinki football stadium. I can't remember. It's something like HGS Helsinki, something like that. Football's not the main sport of this country, let me tell you. Definitely ice hockey. Right, we're actually going up to 3,500 now, so we'll level the aircraft off here. In just a moment, we'll make a right-hand turn and start following the coastline. Whoops. Just trying to adjust the trim there. Obviously a little bit too much. This wheel does do something, so probably go for that. Just make a right-hand turn. And I must say, it's interesting to see how the synthetic vision on the screen in front of me actually works alongside the actual real-world scenery in front of us as well. I mean, I like synthetic vision myself, especially when flying in low visibility. It's a very useful aid to have, and kind of helping you figure out where you're flying. Let's cut back the throttle slightly so it don't go into the yellow. And just slowly adjust some trim to keep us in steady and level flights. There we go, that's perfect. And so what that now means is we get an opportunity to start enjoying the scenery down below. It's a nice area to fly through, Finland. I mean, all the islands that dot the coastline, it's basically an archipelago in Northern Europe. And a very pretty one, I might add to that as well. Out of all the countries I've been to, or that I've travelled through, Finland is by far my favourites. The people there are so nice, the scenery is fantastic. I have never had a bad experience in this country, so there you go. If I'm ever going to leave the United Kingdom for whatever reason, Finland is almost certainly the country I'll end up in. And as for request flights, it really is a good choice. I mean, there's a lot to see down below. One thing that's fascinating about the Finnish people as well is how they all love their isolation. Therefore, you're going to have random houses dotted in the middle of nowhere as well. And yeah, it really is it's a nice place to go through. So, shout out to Espel Spotter for giving me the suggestion for this one. Once again, if you guys also have any idea of where you want me to fly, then do let me know in the comments, and I'll definitely do my best to try and cater for as many of them as possible. Yeah, I've descended a little bit, so I'm going to put a bit of power in just to head back up to 3,000. So just zoom out on the map there a tiny bit as well. As long as we're following the basic direction of where that flight plan leads us to, we should be alright. Yeah, it really is pretty. And running a lot smoother as well. Let me get my FPS counter up 2 seconds. I don't think you guys can see the Xbox overlay, can you? No, you can't. Okay, so right now I'm getting a solid 45 FPS. Jumping up sometimes to 50 whenever it's not loading any scenery up ahead. So nice and stable. Again, running on high settings throughout. And this isn't a super special system by any means. It's a medium high spec, capable for most modern softwares, games, whatever. The minimum requirements of Microsoft Flight Simulator really is tiny compared to what you'd expect. I mean, okay, it's a Windows requirement being a Microsoft product, so anyone using Linux or Mac, unfortunately, this simulator is not available for you. But, yeah, you don't even need the most modern, up-to-date hardware in order to run this. You can certainly make do with something a little bit older. So I'm going to make a right-hand turn now. Start making a break for the coastline right overhead of that. We should be overflying the airfield that we set as a waypoint midway through. And I'll say right now, by keeping out of more populated areas, means that we're going to have a minimal issue when it comes to airspace access. Now that we're also outside of the Greater Helsinki area, or SEMA, I believe it is called. It's again nice and easy to manage now. Again, just some light trim adjustments, keep the aircraft stable. Oops. I mean, weather right now is pretty much pristine. There's a light bit of wind going around us. Nothing particularly menacing. And sadly enough, that DA-62 can't handle. It's a very versatile aeroplane, this. There's a reason why it is certainly one of the most popular GA airplanes to buy right now. The DA-62 as well as the single-engine DA-42. Perhaps at some point we'll also give that a fly. Again, I just love the lighting of that sunrise. The reflection in the water there, the way it kind of just dims the aircraft as well. Don't forget, Asobo, the developers of Microsoft Flight Simulator, also are the developers of The Crew, so Who knows what the Crew 3 will be like with all this technology now in place. They've done a very good job at creating a scale version of the US. That could be the whole world at this point now. Technology is certainly there for it. So currently at 145 knots, airspeed is increasing ever so slightly. Yeah, that's just while we're keeping the aircraft at a relatively level altitude. So, 35 miles at the moment from our waypoint. 35 miles until we can make a right-hand turn and start heading to the northwest. About midway through the first sector. Yeah, don't expect too much to the left-hand side, apart from that's going to be Estonia in the distance. The #1 tourist destination for virtually everything. So, people who live in Norway travel to Sweden for cheap alcohol. People in Sweden travel to Finland for cheap alcohol. People in Finland travel to Estonia for cheap alcohol. Estonians go to Belarus. Belarus go to Poland. It's an interesting snake of a cycle there, but if you look at tourism and the reason of travel for a lot of people in the Nordic and Eastern European regions, well, alcohol, I'm afraid, is the #1 reason for a lot of the cases. But, hey, it's quite fun looking at the tourist maps here. I mean, I've been to Finland, I've been to Sweden, I've been to Norway. I've not yet been to Estonia, although Riga, is that the capital? I believe it is. Riga, no, Tallinn. Tallinn's capital of Estonia. Riga is the capital of... That's going to annoy me now. Latvia. Riga's in Latvia. Yeah. I've been to all of the Scandinavian countries, been to Denmark as well. I've been to most Nordics. The only country I've not yet been to is Iceland. As soon as I can tick that off my list, I can say I've been to every Nordic country. Which potentially will soon include Scotland, looking at the way things are going at the moment as part of the United Kingdom. Things are not as streamlined as they used to be. I don't know why I keep using the word streamlined. The last couple of days, it's just been the #1 word in my vocabulary. It has an answer for everything. But I will give the simulator credit. I mean, you look at the different shapes of the islands, how it's all been cut out and everything. It is very accurate. There's no, like, floating water texture anywhere. The edge of islands, you can see, like, that there is a beach. That beach hasn't been cut out. It is there in real life. It's just... whatever... what's the words? Whatever algorithm they have to determine what is land, what is water. I mean, this is going to be Azure AI in action. Certainly. Whatever algorithm they've got for that, it is spot on. There was an update a couple of weeks ago in the alphas, which actually redid a lot of the coastlines. And so for some of the shallower areas as well, where you can like see the sand underneath the water. You can see where the land is as well. That's also been upgraded as well, so it shows that, again, they are definitely working on a lot of the simulator, including the scenery side of things. Let's make a right-hand turn now. And let's head straight for the airports. Now that I think we are far south enough to avoid any Finnish mainland. Oh yes, and there we go, the sunrise. Can't forget about that. Just note there, 2 warnings there. Left fuel, right fuel low. Shouldn't be too much of a problem. We definitely had enough fuel for a one-way trip. Let's just a quick look. Okay, yeah, perhaps we are a little bit on the low end there, but I don't anticipate having any issue in terms of running out. We've got more than enough for the flight we've got at hand. Oh, Finland, the land of 1,000 lakes. Oimamme Suomi, sinuma oikana. How's the F go? Oimamme Suomi, sinuma oisana kultainen. That's it. Yes. Only verse I know the Finnish anthem. It's the first 2. And there you go. That's the worst rendition of the Finnish anthem you will ever be hearing in your life. I'm here all week. Right. So, just ahead of us, I can see where there's like a big bit of landmass. I presume will be the bit flying towards now. Go. Now we're getting a bit more of a landmass. A few less islands around us. But again, still plenty of variety of scenery. We actually take a. Actually, we use that map. We use this map. If you take a look at the flight plan the rest of the way, so we take the waypoint here, make a right-hand turn, and then fly straight to Mariehamn. As you can see, we do actually leave the Finnish mainland and head towards the a set of islands over there, so we zoom the map out a little bit, make sure the buttons were there properly. Yeah, we do leave the mainland. We fly very close to the Swedish border. That purple line there, magenta line, sorry, marks the airspace between the two. And yeah, it's definitely a decent bit of flight down south. Up there you've got the airspace around Turku, which just stretches to our north. We've got Tampere somewhere up here as well. Not a major airport, isn't it? Over here you've got Lake Saimaa. That'll lead on to Lappeenranta, which should be just there. There you go, Foxtrot Lima Papa. When I flew to Finland in December, I spent Christmas and New Year's over there, it was Lappeenranta I flew into. It's a very nice airport, very small, very easy to walk through. Right, well, make this right turn now, and we'll now start heading to the north. Well, northwest. Well, we are 9 miles from the airport. Sun's starting to appear through the window now behind us. So I see the reflection on the tailcode card there. Super shiny, super clean. I mean, the world of Microsoft Flight Simulator really is spectacular. You've got the whole world around you, and it's all yours to explore. General Aviation and GA flying was probably one of the big, like, highlight features of what the simulator was going to offer, with its level of complexity with the ground scenery below. And well, I've done a few of those in my own time, and finishing off to you guys as well, just kind of how good this really is. I mean, look, just to our right you can see there's obviously I won't call it a town, that's obviously like a mining site of some sorts, perhaps a logging camp. All roads matched out of the real world, building locations matched out of the real worlds. Each individual tree probably matches that of the real world as well. It's just so much level of detail right now the simulator has going on. It is blow out the best. Still at 3,000 feet, so altitude wise we've managed that rather well actually. Now I'll be crossing over the airfield, probably be able to spot outside the window very shortly. It should just be there. Perfect. Now that would be an interesting airport to land at. I'm looking at the northerly runway there. There is a cutout in the trees to give you some space to manoeuvre, but it's definitely tight knit. Southerly runway, not that much better to be honest. Again, a slight slice in the trees there for you to land, but other than the fact it's a coastal approach, It's probably quite a difficult airport to land at. At least the runway's long enough. Certainly. Alright, so let's make this right hand turn now. And let's start heading towards our final waypoint. Now, when it comes to flight dynamics, I'd say Microsoft Flight Simulator and Blade Element Theory is still king. I mean, X-Plane 11 and Blade Element Theory is still king. The way that Laminar Research have implemented Instead Simulator, it is, without a doubt, perfect. They've got the calculations in to simulate the airflow around the wings of the aircraft as well as the body, and then actually use that to create the feeling of flight. What Asobo have done here is a similar method to what they use in DCS World, where it's data tables to set the aircraft's capabilities, but then some limited airflow calculation involved to actually kind of tweak those settings to make it more of a realistic flight. So it no longer feels like you're flying on rails. There's definitely a lot more action going on in the world, but perhaps not enough still. I mean, we have dealt with a bit of turbulence today. We have dealt with a bit of prop drift as well. So it is all there. And let me tell you, the flight dynamics of the General Aviation aircraft are so much more fine-tuned than the jetliners. From the initial release, I think it's the GA that, again, will be standing out for this platform. The scenery, the aircrafts. If you like your General Aviation, this is going to be your go-to, that's for sure. Let's return to the left slightly there. So, in terms of what we find this evening, I do have one flight in mind, and hopefully should be a spectacular one as well. Flight other than the real worlds. Did it last year actually, and probably I'll do it in the King Air. So if you want to see some King Air action this afternoon, then do tune into the later premiere, which I'm sure will be counting down by the time this one's gone live anyway, so you guys know what it will be by then. What was it actually? 2,800, so we're going to climb a tad bit, just get back to 3,000. About halfway through this flight. This next leg, however, going to be again a little less to look at now as we fly over the water. We're still going to get an archipelago of the islands that group together to form the Finnish land, but not much in terms of population, not much in terms of life going on here apart from nature in its own right. Now, when I saw this back in, what was it, July of 2018, so that was my British Airways flight from Heathrow to Helsinki. Well, again, it was the middle of summer, the sun was still up at half an hour to midnight, 11:30 PM. Yeah, just the whole visual of that flight was fantastic. Pretty much set the scene for the entire week ahead. At least until the second last night there, which I then managed to lose my passport, then have to go stay in Helsinki for a few days, to go through the embassy to get emergency documents, and then eventually make my way back home. It's worth a watch, the vlog on my channel, losing my passport here in Helsinki, and a few tips in there as well for if you ever manage to lose your own passports. For example, always take a photocopy of your documentation. If you ever need to prove who you are without having the documents with you, a photocopy is certainly better than nothing. With the tail cam, there we go. Okay, so yeah, relatively straightforward. You have a tail cam, it sits on the tail, nothing much else said. Some aircraft tail cams are actually slightly offset, so they're not behind the aircraft but slightly left or right. I believe that's however for the T-tails, and therefore because of the high wing kind of just blocks the view, definitely move it to the side slightly. But still, no flyby cam. Once going to say, but if you're watching this, please give me that flyby cam I am so desperately in need for. The sun is now setting, sorry, right, the sun's now rising to a fair height, and eventually this morning bloom will come to an end, and I'm sure that when we are landing, it'll be a nice clear blue sky. This is live weather at the moment, so not a single cloud anywhere to be seen. For General Aviation, this is pretty much exactly as you'd hope. Minimal winds, clear skies, no clouds, plus 10-mile visibility. This is perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. A few little wind turbines down there, are they? Yeah, a few wind turbines. Not moving, because again, there's no wind going through them to start blowing. Let's quick check on the map. We are now well over halfway into the flights. We are 75 miles away from our destination. Pot shot Mike Alpha. Mariehamn. Even just flying without autopilot, it's a very, very relaxed feeling. I'm having to make some slight adjustments here and there. Not too heavy. I mean, I could start doing that if I really wanted to and actually start moving the aircraft around like crazy, but yeah, nice and relaxed today. For those of you who haven't had the privilege of flying a real aircraft before, then I guess one misconception is that in order to make an aircraft turn, you need heavy movements on the stick, heavy movements on the throttles to get it all going, heavy movements on the trim as well. In reality, it's very, very light. I mean, I can imagine for full-on jetliners like the 747 the A380, for example, okay, those two you perhaps need the bigger movements, but flying gliders, flying light aircraft and general aviation, because of how small the aircraft are, and just the size of the moving surface on the wing to provide the roll and lifts, you only need ever so slight movements to create a roll. So if I was just make a right turn now, I've moved the stick maybe a millimetre, millimeter of movements, and gives you the full movement you see right now. This aircraft, it may not be perfect, but it's certainly not bad, that's for sure. You do get a lot of pleasure flying them around. Now I'm trying to use the synthetic vision and the map on my right hand side to kind of just pinpoint exactly direction I need to head, and potentially even try and spot the landmass I'm going to come in to land on. Is that it? Possibly there on the horizon. I think it may be. One thing I'm not a big fan of the Diamond aircraft is how massive these frames are. What is the actually good aircraft? I think the Robin 401 is a very good aircraft for the visibility outside the window. Flying low and slow. If you look out, it is definitely a good choice to go for. Perhaps in a midweek video, we'll give the 401 a go. Now third of the way into our crossing from last waypoints to our next. Next, we're just over first. Going up to halfway. Time is currently 6:15. I've been in the air for about 42 minutes now. We're landing in approximately 20 minutes, I'd say. Perhaps a little bit longer. Yeah, around 20-25 minutes till we expect landing, so that would be around 6:40, I'd say. Which gives us a flight time of 1 hour and 10 minutes. once again, any suggestions you may have for routes you want to see in Microsoft Flight Simulator, either do give me shouts in the chat or via my Discord server in the description, via the link in the description even. I'm trying to get as much out there as possible of what you guys want to see, to ensure that you guys have the best idea possible of what to expect on release day. Release still set for the 18th of August at this point. And again, you have the 3 editions. You have Standard, Deluxe, and Premium Deluxe. The 2 top tier packages giving you more content over the Standard. So you get additional 10 airports, or additional 5 airports and 5 aircraft in the Premium, and then the 10 aircraft and 10 airports in the Premium Deluxe on top of the Standard. Now, I personally haven't pre-ordered yet. Ever since the Steam Store announcement came out, it's definitely been very juicy for me. I'm very much considering getting the Steam edition myself, as I do like having the, well, for one, having all of the files on the Steam folder being a lot more manageable, and also, I just like having all my games in one place, and so to keep it there, decided to make life a little bit easier for myself. So Steam Store version of Microsoft Flight Simulator, definitely the one that I'm currently eyeing at the moment. But without a doubt, I will be pre-ordering this for sure. Now let's see how it manages some of these islands, given that they are a fair few miles off the coast of Finland, and I can't imagine there's going to be too much data as to whether or not these islands out here have trees or grass or whatever. But as we fly by, again, just looking at how it calculates everything, Azure AI knows what it's doing. The people who created it have done a fantastic job at getting this is the way it is. Once again, Finland really is a beautiful country. If you want to fly low and slow, I definitely would recommend either here, the archipelago to the west of the country, or flying around Lake Saimaa and, well, Karelia as the area is known. Quick FPS update, we're now getting a solid 48 right now, jumped up to 50, 49. At some point I'll figure out a way to actually get the FPS on screen for you guys, but right now I'm using the Xbox Live window pop-up thing that you can get. Going to put 4,000 at the moment. Definitely going to get the aircraft a little bit down. Cut back on the throttle as well, just know my airspeed's starting to get very, very high there. So again, just some light adjustments on the throttle, light adjustments on the stick. Just try and bounce the aircraft out to the lower altitude. Checking the map, we're now over halfway between this latest hop. Another 43 miles to go. We are certainly almost there. There we go, 2,900, and we'll level the aircraft off, put it into a very minute climb again. So push to the left ever so slightly, we are north of our flight plan. In terms of our approach, we'll probably do a northerly landing as well, so we'll fly to the south of the airfield, make a right hand turn, and then fly up north to land. So the north-south heading runway, so nice and easy for us to manage. Go. That is perfect. Perfectly balanced, like all things should be. Chance to get some more camera views in. I mean, that scenery over there, the lands over there, is so far away. I don't expect to see much in terms of actual hills or whatever. But certainly, so just try to get sun in frame. Oh, that is very nice. Also, I like how the sun's not like a perfect circle, but depending on its height, it kind of bends and flexes a little bit as well. It's kind of like the effects of it have. The kind of effects it'll have low over the horizon. Bit of heat burn around that. Very nice. Very nice attention to detail even. There we are, the silhouette of our aeroplane as it continues its Oh, continues its final stretch at this point. In a couple of minutes, we'll start getting ready to descend. And bring the aircraft into land. That landmass in front of us is going to be Mariehamn. 30 miles to go. Right-hand turn just to get those back on track. Well, one other cool feature of the Microsoft Flight Sim as well. Let's have a look at the menu at the top here. So, ATC, you've got actually different camera modes. Oh yeah, so we've got drone camera showcase, we've got external cameras, we've also got the cockpit cam. Different views as well. Unfortunately, not all of them seem to have the different presets for windows, especially jetliners. Again, the camera in the sim, it's not terrible. There was a point where the camera really needed a lot of work, and so again, one of those things that they have listened to us in the alpha, and they've actually given us the given us the feedback there and gave us the system what we want. We can switch between the different control modes here. So there you go, I'm using the HOTAS Warthog at the moment, as well as the other peripherals got plugged in. Air control, so if you want the aircraft to be flown by the computer, click on that and you can just sit back and enjoy as a passenger. Fuel, that's fuel on boards. Navlog, that's all the well, that's the current flights at the moment. Flying from or even just a waypoint there, so that's going to be the airport we crossed over. Time sense, that's going to be descent when we make our approach into the airports. We've got the objectives, so no objectives, no missions at the moment. If you're doing a full-on flight, or if you're doing a mission or a landing challenge, for example, during the week we'll cover the landing challenges and we'll also have a look at some of those in action as well. Then up here is what it will tell you the information for. Travel to, so you can travel to our like approach or final taxi, takeoff, cruise, wherever. So if I wanted to jump to a different stage of flights, we can do that there. We've got the map, self-explanatory, it's a map. We have a weather panel, so at the moment we are set to live weather. If I wanted to, we could change the presets around a bit. So scattered clouds, we can switch over to well, high level clouds. Let's go to overcast, for example. Look at the rain. This panel here, which lets you make all the changes you want. We'll go back to live weather, and we'll go back to, it's going up to 6:30, wasn't it? There we go. Next thing, we've also then got the, well, that's custom toolbar, and that lets you kind of make the panels appear and disappear. Right, at this point, we are now going to start planning our approach at this point. What should be visible to us in just a jiffy. Reset my external cam 2 seconds. It's external, defaults, there we go. And that gives me the free look around. Right, so yeah, airport should be on the landmass just over there. keep an eye out for it. We'll also make a slight left turn and we'll fly to the south of our flight plan. I mean, right now I'm using that flight plan as the same as any part would use Skydim, for example. You plan your waypoints, you plan the relative direction of travel, and then you let the VFR navigation do the rest. Look out the window and see where you are. We are nice and low at the moment, 2,300. We'll stick to about 2,000 at this point. We shall start running the aircraft in. Flaps and landing gear won't do until, well, until we're right at the last moment. Yeah, we're 16 miles away. I can see something going on there in the horizon. A few more wind turbines, that's for sure. Can actually use a target camera. Well, that doesn't actually look at the airport directly. So, in my case, it's the trigger button on the Hotas Warthog, but you have a camera mode called Smart Cam, and what it does is it points the camera at the closest landmark. So in this case, the closest landmark will be the airport. Somewhere just over there is where we'll be landing. If I was flying over, say, Paris, then if I'm flying near the Eiffel Tower, it will mark the Eiffel Tower's landmark, and therefore look at that. For example, like the London Eye, Houses of Parliament in London, you'll have the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco, all that kind of stuff. It will mark landmarks, airports, and if you've got nothing else around you, potentially the nearest aircrafts to you in terms of AI service. Right. Let's start bringing the aircraft now for landing. Airport should be coming into view now. Should be in sight just a couple of moments. In fact, I think I can see it right there. Perhaps not. Cut back the throttle now. Not the anticipation to descend. Just as a chance to kind of slow the aircraft down, give me some more time to manoeuvre. We'll make a right-hand turn now, fly parallel to the coastline. A little bit more throttle actually, going a bit too slow there. Yeah, let's get a bit more of a better view outside the window. So pop the camera up and also have both panels in clear view for me. So far so good. Winds have slightly kicked up now. There's a bit more bouncing going on with the turbulence. And, well, I can definitely feel some of that counteracting on my control. So, tiny little adjustments are needed to keep the aircraft going in a straight line. So it's not as bad as FSX, where it was just flying on rails. No matter how bad the weather was, your aircraft was going in a straight line, regardless of what you're doing. There's a few houses now down below. So we have found a populated island out of all the bunch we've flown over so far. Finally, civilization for us to look at. And actually, that right there is the airport. So I was right. That there is where we're coming into land. So now that I know where we're going, let's start our descent and potentially use the first stage of flaps. Just to add a little bit of drag into the airspeed. Also, very good for lifts. Keep the aircraft in the air just a tad bit longer. Aircraft's now descending quite nicely. Start a right hand turn, start following the bay around. And where that lake is just there, that also forms the start of the runway, so we'll have some sort of a navigation aid for approach in the VFR here. I do love a bit of hands-on flying. And when the scenery looks this good, then, well, it's definitely worth it, like I say. Serbo Studios, Microsoft Flight Simulator. You definitely get a kick out of it, that's for sure. Right, second stage of flaps, gear down. Right hand turn, start growing ourselves into the runway. Keeping on the airspeed as we're gonna start losing some of that now. Stalls around 40 knots in the DA-62. There we have it, short final. Let's stick the seat up a little bit just so I've got a better view again. The camera in default position is very low in these cockpits, and so I do like the ability where you can preset different camera positions and just put them exactly where you want them to. Same as the next plane, just different keyboard positions, unless you well, rebind them like I have to match on the numpad. Right. It's 2 whites, 2 reds. Nice and slowly. And there we have it. Welcome to Mariehamn. Exit of the runway is to the right, so we'll let the aircraft bleed off its speeds with rolling. And that there to the right is our exit from the runway. Yeah, no issues whatsoever with that flight. The scenery is fantastic. The sunrise over Helsinki was spectacular. And well, yeah, it was a good hour and 9-minute flight there. Let us switch the landing to taxi lights. And let's now go find a place to park. Commercial traffic, I presume, go to the left. We push to the right. Mariehamn doesn't get too much in terms of commercial traffic, but you do get a daily flight from Helsinki with Finnair, or even Nordic, isn't it? The Finnair subsidiary that flies the smaller routes. And I believe we also get a flight in from Sweden somewhere as well, every few days. Not as frequent, but certainly a service that keeps the people here going. And then we'll just park up in that box right there. Parking brakes set. Taxi lights off. Engine 1 and 2 master switches off. And there we have it. We'll turn off the strobe, turn off the position lights, and we'll probably set the aircraft up into a conduct position so they both come off. Fuel tank closed. Fuel pumps off. Pitot heat off. AV master off. Battery off. What's probably could have put the flaps up. Yeah, it's a bit too late for that now, isn't it? Oh well. You live and you learn. So yeah, that was our first GA flights here in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Again, scenery wise, the world is spectacular. There's so much to see, so much to do. I'm sure there's a lot more outside of Europe as well for us to explore. That we definitely will be doing in the next couple of weeks. A lot of requests for Asian airports I've got. So a lot of people want to see South Korea and Japan. So those two are definitely going to be airports I'll be covering at some points. A couple of requests for North Africa as well. So we'll have a look at some of those regions. Not many for South America, I must admit. I thought we'd get maybe a couple asking for Brazil, Argentina, Chile, but obviously not. At some point I might even create like a Google Docs or something for you guys to kind of like drop which airports you want to see, and eventually kind of get a list going of top airports you want to see and kind of rank them all down. But that's for another time. For now, we'll bring this premiere to an end. So, I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I hope you guys have now had a chance to kind of see more of the down-to-earth flight dynamics of the simulator. I mean, the A320 certainly needs a lot more tweaks when it comes to how it flies, especially in the landing department. I know for a fact that I'm not the only one that struggles with it sometimes. There are others out there too who have had their issues with it. But again, Asobo are fully aware of those problems and will certainly be tweaking those and ironing out the bugs, ready for the release on the 18th. But yes, until then, hope you guys enjoyed the watch. Do like if you enjoyed, do subscribe, and I will see you in the very near future. And if you're here for the evening flights, then yes, be prepared. It is going to be a beauty. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.